All right, folks, I have a very exciting video for you all today. We're going to be reacting to an interview with Keith Neumeyer. He is the CEO of First Majestic Silver. They are at the Rick Rule Symposium right now, which has been a week-long event. Andy Scheckman's been there. I've been on the phone with him several times. He said it's a lot of fun, but the days are very, very long. So we're going to be going over this. Now, I love Keith Neumeyer. See, he's very vocal about the silver shortage, very open about it, whereas some others aren't. I'm not going to say any names, but look at the title of this interview with Kitco News. What's next for silver? Real reason behind silver's price manipulation and a deficit outlook. This is a 13-minute long interview, but I will be going through it all. I'll pause at certain points, but this stuff is very important. Keith Neumeyer is, of course, he's in tune more than anyone. He's the one digging this stuff out of the ground. So just listen to what he says throughout this interview. Now, you might notice that there's some shoes behind me, and I'm going to show you guys these bad boys. These are Trump 2024 shoes. They came in the mail today. If you guys want to grab a pair, I think it's 1776 sequel. That's the site. Or something like that, or yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure, but you guys can go check those out if you want. They have other stuff like F. Joe Biden shirts and lots of stuff. So let me know if you like this format along with the face cam. So with that said, let's jump straight into it.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy Saffron. This is Kitco News. Welcome back to the coverage here at Boca Raton. We're at the Rick Rule Symposium, where it is just a fantastic room filled with investors and companies in the precious metal space and in commodities from across the world. Our next guest, Keith Neumeyer, you're going to know him. He's no stranger to the Kitco audience. Of course, Keith is the CEO of First Majestic Silver, also has his hands in a lot more than just that, which we'll talk about. Keith, welcome back to Kitco.
Well, it's great seeing you again. Thank you.
Let's chat about silver. I don't want to forecast on the prices. Of course, it's a little bit difficult as a CEO, but let's talk about that $30 resistance level, what you see is next in terms of, this commodity cycle. Where are we in it, Keith?
Well, it's nice to see $30, of course, and the last time we saw silver run to 30, there was, you had the chairman of the CFTC on CNBC or MSNBC or whatever it was, saying, "Oh, we successfully tamped down the market." And I'm going, like, what the heck? Like, why is the regulators worried about $30 silver? And we saw $30 silver pretty quickly this last run. We went from 23, 24, 25 to 30 in a matter of a month, and it's held up quite nicely. Today is not a great day, as we know, but it's still got a 30 in front of it. Yeah. I'm excited about it. For us, it's a big difference. The margins on our metal, is substantial now, and I'm looking for higher prices still.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about this. Of course, we know the dual usage of silver, of course, the industrial, then we got the currency, but talk to me about why it's being manipulated. Talk to me about what you think is happening with the prices there in terms of the macro environment. I mean, there's a lot of things to play here.
Okay, I'm not going to pause too much throughout this interview because I'm genuinely, interested in watching it myself. But this is a very important question, especially for someone who's the CEO of a mining company, right? Like, he mines around, I think he said 10 million ounces. Last year, I think he mined 10 million ounces of silver. But for him to openly mention the price manipulation and the shortage, it's very telling. I'm not going to say any names, but there was a seminar from the Silver Institute titled "Silver's Role in the Green Economy" or "Silver's New Role in the Green Economy," and one of the CEOs of another mining company stood up in front of everyone and mentioned that there's no silver shortage, but then completely contradicted himself, showing tons and tons of data proving that we don't have enough silver to go green. Like, I recall someone saying, if you think we have enough silver to go green, you're living in la la land. But anyways, let's jump back into this interview.
I just think because it's such an industrial metal, and people look at silver as a poor man's gold, which is it's not. Silver is not gold. Silver is a commodity, a strategic commodity that we need as a human race to accomplish all the things that we're wanting to do. electronics, solar panels, nuclear plants, and you name it. Everything that we do construct requires some component of silver. And it's not that well understood.
Yeah.
I think, you get these big trading desks at these banks that are just used to seeing a certain number associated with a certain commodity or instrument or stock or whatever. And when the price gets...
Real quick, do you guys want me to interview Keith Neumeyer? I definitely could. Andy could definitely hook me up with him. I think I'm going to, because David Morgan and Keith Neumeyer are the two people that, that I really, really enjoy listening to. And since they're on the same page, I actually, have David Morgan's book. He signed it for me after I interviewed him on my channel. I've talked to him on the phone and stuff since then. I have his phone number, but I think Keith Neumeyer would be another really important person to talk to. So maybe I'm gonna actually text Andy after this and ask him if he can set something up for me. I know you guys would probably like that.
To range, the bottom end or the top end of that range, they become buyers or they become sellers, and there's nothing beyond that. These traders that work, and I used to be a trader on the floor years ago in the 80s, and I worked for 3 national banks myself, and look, I know how it is, and these guys just think of it just as a number on a screen. They don't actually realize, hey, look, this is an important metal, and it should not be trading at these prices. It should be trading at a much higher price. And that, it is coming around because, you saw in the last couple of weeks the short position was increasing a little bit. So I'm not at all surprised to see the knockdown today. But the shorts are not as aggressive today as they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yet there's rumors about a supply and demand deficit. I mean, we have a little bit of a crunch. Yeah. I mean, TD Securities thinks in 2 years that depletion is going to be here. We know that it's not only strategic for countries.
So they said 2 years. That's a very important time frame. First, Keith is mentioning how strategic and how critical of a role it plays. And he mentions right there, data shows 2 years. What I was going to say right before he even mentioned that was, Keith mentioned nobody really understands how valuable it is, how important it is yet. And when people do, that's when silver will take on a life of its own, regardless of what the dollar index is doing, regardless of what gold is doing. Silver will do what it does. Now, I've always, on this channel, since 2019, and I think I started saying this year in 2019 because that's when I really started to understand the silver shortage to a much greater degree. Following, right into, the pandemic. First, it was like the Saudi Arabian oil fields getting attacked. Then it was the U.S.-China trade wars. And then right into that led COVID, and no one even remembered about the U.S.-China trade wars. But regardless, that was around the time. And I've said since then, by the year 2025, 2026, I think that's when silver will quote-unquote explode, meaning like triple digits. I think by then we'll be deep enough into the Green New Deal. By then the silver shortage will be so deep, so undeniably, blatantly obvious that you will have to acknowledge no type of manipulation will be able to hold down how valuable, how critical this asset is, this metal is. So it's funny that they also say data shows in 2 years, because that's exactly what I've been saying, 2026. Some say a lot sooner, though, when you also incorporate the financial side of things, the monetary side, not just the industrial.
Across the world, but also for companies to produce more silver. So where are we at? Are we behind here?
Tomorrow we're at the Rick Rule conference, as your listeners are aware, and I have a presentation tomorrow talking about the supply and demand fundamentals of silver, and we're in a 4-year deficit now, and these deficits are growing. This is not 50,000 ounces or this is 240 million ounces of silver deficit.
Yeah, 240 million ounces in the red this year. 240 million. Last year was 190 million ounces. The last 3 years alone, we're talking about well over 500 million ounces in the red, and it's only going to get worse. So saying the silver shortage is not real, or that this isn't going to do anything to the price as we need more of it, and like Keith said, how critical this metal is, it's not possible to go green, and it's not possible that the price will not explode eventually.
and that number is climbing every single year. And in a sector where the mining sector only produces 850 million ounces a year, and you're in a 240 million deficit. Like, how does that work? Yeah. No wonder why we have a $30 silver. Yeah. Remind you, it probably should be 50 or 60 or 70 at these deficit numbers.
Well, that's my kind of question. I mean, it's so essential for this whole green revolution as we're talking about. I mean, when is the retail audience going to wake up and understand you need this?
You know, I think the institutional audience is really the one that really has to make that call. You know, the retail investors, you know, are there. You know, at this conference, we see them all the time. You know, through our mint, we have our own mint.
Yeah, that's a good point. Investors like you and I aren't going to make the difference. I feel like it's much bigger. It's the big players. It's the tech companies. It's aerospace. It's, you know, the people like Elon Musk that own SpaceX and Tesla. And, you know, that's, I feel, where the price would really be getting affected. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of both, but I truly think that once industry realizes that if they don't get their hands on silver, they won't be able to make their products, or by the time they do, if the price is a lot higher, then their cost of production would be through the roof. Like Mike Maloney sent that open letter to Elon Musk urging him to buy silver, saying, Elon, you say you're going to produce this many Teslas by the year 2030. If you buy silver right now at $20, you'd have to pay $780 million. If you wait till silver's, $50, it's 1 point whatever billion. Or one, you know, 1 point, whatever. And then he said, if you wait till silver's, $100, that's 3.2 billion. He was saying, you got to get on it now. And Elon actually responded to that, thanking Mike Maloney. And Elon actually followed, I don't think he does anymore, but he followed Wall Street Silver as well. So he knows about silver. Obviously, he bought a silver mine. I don't know if that's true or not. I know there was a lot of talk about it, but I don't know like the name of it. I don't know, where it's located or anything. So if you guys know about that, let me know in the comment section below.
We just opened up as well. You know, we sell a lot of silver to retail buyers. It's really the institutions that are void from this marketplace, and it's quite shocking. You know, when you have the Canadian pension plan, that isn't not required to own any, publicly traded equities in Canada, don't invest in the mining sector, which they should.
Yeah,
these big institutions
video,
who, should be supporting this sector for extractive purposes, because we need these metals, yet they're void. They're not in this market at all.
When we think about, First Majestic, obviously we think about Mexico. I'm kind of curious. We have a new president in Mexico. AMLO, quite close to him. Similar, maybe, some politics. We're not quite sure in terms of what the regulations look like on the mining side. Talk to me about any issues coming up. What's your take here?
Well, it's a bit of a guessing game right now. The elections just occurred on June 2nd, and the handover's in October of this year. There's a lot of speculation going on, some positive, some not too positive. So, we're optimistic. We think it's going to be a better administration for mining, for the extractive industries. The current government has been, somewhat, I hate to say anti-foreign investment, but it almost feels that way in a sense. This new president that's coming in, first female president of Mexico, which is quite a phenomenon in itself. But we're hearing good things. She's well educated. We think that she likes business, wants the foreign investment in Mexico. So we're optimistic.
Yeah, great. When we think of ROI, I was thinking about Rick Rule on stage this morning. He's saying, listen, when I go into a company, a junior or anything, I think 10 years out, maybe 5 years out. When do we start looking at the stock charts every day and trying to see what this volatility is every day? When did we start thinking about it in that terms, as opposed to, okay, we got to give these guys a runway of a few years to operate?
We have to get back to that. I think we're getting into another major bull market in commodities, and then led.
By the way, the reason I found this interview was because someone in the Secret Silver Society, which is the new silver club that I started, I'll post the link in the description. We were talking about silver miners and junior miners, and the topic of First Majestic, Hecla, some other ones, Pan American, And we're kind of getting. I've never invested into silver miners or juniors or anything. I'm starting to look into it, and since we have the Secret Silver Society now, I can, people can lead me into the best ones to get into, and we could all brainstorm. It's a chat. It's a group that could all kind of throw ideas like, oh, let's get on this one. This one's the best right now. A big, two minds are better than one, and if we have a whole group, I feel like we could make some very profitable decisions. And at the end of every month, we do a silver raffle in that group. On July 31st, I have everyone's names in a bucket, everyone's raffle tickets in a bucket. If you're a basic member, you get one raffle per month, per monthly drawing, and then elite members get 2 raffle tickets. So every month, the group gets a chance to win silver, which I think just makes it a little more fun. That's not really the point, though. The point is to build a community, and finding videos like this and talking about miners and having people, I would ask the group some questions they want me to ask Andy. They obviously get first dibs since they're supporting this channel. They're supporting me and they're a part of the community. So if you guys want to join that, let me know. I'm not just trying to push promotions, but it is a good place to make friends and talk serious conversations. And I'm always on it. Every day, constantly checking the community board because I like talking to people in there. I've already made a couple friends. And that is how I found this video right now. If it wasn't for the Secret Silver Society, I wouldn't be making this video because one of the guys, shout out to him, posted this in there today as we were talking about silver miners.
By gold and silver's now popping its head up and if you go back to 2000, the Nasdaq hit 5,000 in March of 2000, and it went to 800. Over the next 3 years, dropping 80%. During that period of time, when I put First Majestic together back in 2002, and we just celebrated our 20th anniversary last September, which is great. But nevertheless, gold was at $240 an ounce, silver was $5. And by 2011, we had virtually $1,900 gold and almost $50 silver. Yeah. So, but then it ended, and we've been in this bear market since 2011 all the way to I'd probably put a pin in the wall maybe 2021 because from 2016 to 2021 it was very volatile. It was just this up and down action where the institutions got scared away from the market because you just you'd buy and the next thing you know you're offside and you have to.
Yeah, that's when I started, was 2015, and then and I started really kind of getting bigger in 2021. So the majority of the channel growth that I've been the majority of my stacking career, the average price of silver is like less than $15. The majority of the time of me making daily YouTube videos. But I remember the first time silver broke above $20 in July, July 2016 high of $21. I remember that was huge. That was huge that we broke $21. And that was way back in 2016, It just shows how long I've been doing this. But, the whole point is like he was saying, though, there was a lot of emotion. It's going up and then down, and then you think it's about to break back up to 19 or something, then it goes back down to 16 or $11 in March of 2020. I mean, it's been an emotional roller coaster. And that's why I tried to detach myself and just get it. If I have to pay $15 an ounce, if I have to pay $25 an ounce, if I have to pay $33 an ounce, I'm going to buy it regardless because I know it's worth a lot more than that. And that's just how I've always been.
To sell, and it was chaotic. But now I think we've got some stability. The upside I think is pretty obvious. I think there's a lot more funds, institutions starting to look at this space. We're feeling it ourselves, and I think we just need to get some big money financing the mining sector, and I think it will happen. There's enough voices out there that are talking about what we're going to do. Like, how are we going to achieve all the things we're going to achieve? To build a nuclear plant, how much silver is in that thing? There's a lot of silver in a nuclear plant.
That's a really good point. And by the way, Jim Rogers, the billionaire, very successful billionaire, he said he's going to be buying silver. He actually bought some, he said, but he said he's going to be buying more and saying that it's a great investment. Silver, by the way, not gold. He said silver. So that's huge. And think about nuclear. Yeah, like you said.
Right. So
That's
Talk to
crazy.
me a little bit about M&A. What are you thinking when I mean, you're just talking about the cost of capital. It's been very expensive. We're seeing evaluations of a lot of the juniors. It's, sad levels. Is this
Very
the
sad,
time
yeah.
to go and just pick them up? Is that what's happening? What do you think?
Well, when I put First Mining Gold together, back in 2015, we were buying ounces in the ground for sub $10 an ounce, which I thought was just phenomenal. And we went into a small rally after that, and but today we're back at those same levels. For a company like First Majestic, we have our toeholds in a couple of juniors, and we just actually put some money into one recently that's trying to get the Ligatera mine back up and running that they bought from us. So we'll help out if we think it makes sense, but we have an M&A team that scour the space. We have databases. We're collecting information on a regular basis of anyone that remotely is touching silver, and I think we know a lot about the silver space, probably more than a lot of companies do. And when it comes to M&A, I can't give you names, obviously, but we've got our list, and I built this business by doing M&A, and that's not going to stop.
Has that due diligence changed with these higher prices? I mean, margins are being a little bit crunched down in some respects. What's changed there?
Well, we're not gonna run numbers at $30 silver. It's maybe if silver gets up to 40 or something, we might consider that. But we have to be somewhat conservative, because when we buy a mine, depending if it's operating or not. If it's already operating, then great. But you need a 10-year payback period, basically. So you run your numbers at conservative levels, and if it works, great. But it's not easy.
Now, listen, you got your hand in a few other deals. I know that, and a few other companies. You've been one of the insiders when a lot of these stocks are going down. I can look at the reports. I know that you're buying those dips. Talk to me about how important those investors are. I mean, you're sitting at a show like this. I've seen you at luncheons. You like to mingle. How hard was that couple of years? Few years?
Well, getting criticized for, my triple digits silver call, I'm kind of used to that. And then because I did that 10 years ago, and I've been...
Yeah, that's another thing, and that's why you got to be very careful. Keith Neumeyer has been very vocal about triple-digit silver, and that's why now I'm very, very careful on what I say, because one, if let's say you're a new stacker or you just started a couple months ago, and you find my channel, and I'm sitting here promising you or telling you that silver's going to hit triple digits within the next couple of months or a year, you have an expectation in your mind. A very, very important and real saying that I always hear and go by is, expectations are resentments waiting to happen. So if you're a new stacker and you're buying all this and got to buy now, got to hurry up because it's about to explode, and then it never happens, it kind of makes you not resent it. It just makes it a lot less fun. I get it. It could almost turn you away from it, saying, "Oh, I made a bad idea. I made a bad mistake," because you're not getting into it, understanding what makes it valuable. You're thinking you're going to get rich off of it with the price in mind, instead of realizing, actually, it's not even about the $100. It's actually about preserving my wealth because the dollar's collapsing and I need to find something to put my money into, So, and it can be taken so out of context. Look, if I made a title, silver's going to skyrocket soon, the price, one person might think skyrocket means $40 or $50, because that would be. I mean, I just saw an article, they said silver skyrocketed because it was up 2% yesterday. They said a 2% increase was skyrocketing, where someone else might see the word skyrocket and they think I mean $100 or $500. So I have to be very careful with that and realistic, and that's why I say genuinely I think by the year 2026 is when that would happen. Some people say a lot sooner, a lot sooner. I'm not going to say that because I genuinely don't believe that unless something, something happens big that we cannot see. I don't want it to happen either, because I want to be able to accumulate as much as I possibly can. If I'm not planning on selling potentially ever, or don't plan on selling another 10, 15, 20 years, then why in the world would I want it to go up now? Then what? I sell all my silver, I get rich, but then what? I'm just not buying silver anymore. I'm just going to shut my channel down because silver, I already made money off silver. Now I'm rich, and what? Now what? Obviously, that would not happen. I would always be making videos, but it just, you know, it's different. It's almost like a lifestyle. Because well, especially for like a silver stacking channel like mine, you know, it is my job to inform the masses on this, you know, on silver and the potential. But you know, just be realistic with prices, and that's a prime example of, you know, he said something and then, you know, he kind of got some backlash about it. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Let me know what you think about this. I will also post this video in the description if you want to watch the raw video from Kitco News. I really enjoyed this. I love Keith Neumeyer. I'm going to try to interview him. I'm going to actually text Andy right now. First, I'm going to try to see when we can get this show going. He's been at the Symposium. Obviously, it's why we haven't been able to, and I've had, you know, some stuff. We almost were able to yesterday, but yeah, and I'm going to ask him about that. So, folks, if you wanted to purchase, by the way, from Miles Franklin, which Andy Scheckman's the CEO of, you know, we have some great deals right now. $50 for $250 over spot. You know, we have Buffaloes for $235. Lots of stuff. 10-ounce bars like $225. We have the Eagles, 2024 Eagles, $595 over spot. You know, just hit me up. Maybe I'll be able to work with you or something. You know, prices aren't always set in stone, especially if we build a relationship. But also, please, if you want a cool place to meet new stackers, talk about silver, ask any questions. Maybe if you're newer, you could ask advice, or if you want to get into silver miners, or you know, or whatever the case is, or just support the channel, or maybe you don't even care about the discussion board. You just want a chance to win silver every month with your, you know, just get a raffle ticket. You know, $5 a month. You have your one raffle ticket. Just every month, you know, it automatically gets, you know, taken out because of membership, and maybe in 3, 4, 5 months you'll win some silver. Maybe that just the thrill of the raffle, that itself is, you know, is what you'd like. Regardless, check it out. Check it out. Patreon. I'll post a link in the description of the pinned comment. Also, make sure you subscribe, and I will be posting more today. Let me know if you like this format where I actually watch videos. You know, instead of always just covering articles, watching the videos with the face cam. Let me know if you like that. A lot of YouTubers do that now, and I probably should, you know, get with the times. Because I feel like it is a lot more enjoyable to be watching this stuff with you. And I feel like you guys, you know, would probably enjoy that as well. So anyways, yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I will see you guys later today. Peace.